one quick question to the producers to give you a chance to rest. George Michael has a very specific kind of relationship to corporate America, talking about Sony Music. What do you think the reactions about this to this movie will be in the United States?
I think they'll be extremely favourable because, above all else, it's the most honest documentary I think you'll ever find from any artist, and it tells the story. The artist himself is effectively telling the story from start to finish and exactly where he stands, which was a piece that was missing so many years ago when there was the initial hiatus, the problem that we had with Sony. There was a complete lack of understanding, and if nothing else, I think they now will fully understand the artist in play. We did Oprah and some other promotional work earlier in the Life of the Patients album, and we had a very good pickup from that. You know, Oprah has an extraordinary effect. Bang, it came back. It was simply a factor that George, as he's very succinctly explained, was not prepared to play the game in the way that is required by record companies today, to the fullest extent, by going and whoring yourselves up and down the country with radio stations and feeling comfortable with that, which many artists do.
I didn't sleep with any of them.
No. But it's just, you know, it's just not George's thing, you know. And I think George has every right to be an individual, and I think that's explained very well within the process of this film. That's why we're very proud of it. So I hope that answers the question.
Your question, please. Yes, it's you.
Okay. Mary Winke from Currents Magazine, Hamburg, Germany. This sort of follows up on what Mr. Stevens just said, and I want to talk about America. The film is very personal, it's very open and honest, and the American public really seems to enjoy having someone expose themselves, and then they'll forget, and then buy a record.
No pun intended, right?
That's right. So do you have any plans, or is there any reason why you would want to try to make a comeback in America at this point?
If I'd wanted to make a comeback in America, then I think I would have tried to do that. There are easy ways. If I really wanted to make an impact on the market, then I would just have gone about it in a much more, modern way, which is doing loads and loads of TV. That wasn't what I wanted to do in America. In America, I felt that I owed it to the people that had remained loyal to me. About, 1 million people roughly keep buying the albums when they come out over there. So I thought I thought they deserved me to go over there and do a bit of promotion and kind of reintroduce myself, and again try to explain to people, that there were reasons that I'd been away. And I think I did that. I was not looking for any huge comeback, and I didn't think it was likely. But I think I made the right. I think my fans now in America understand why I haven't been there, which is, that was the point, really.
Your question in the back, please. Yeah.
My question is for George Michael. Before starting, I'm Mehari from the African Refugee News, and I would like to thank you for the contribution you gave 20 years ago for Ethiopia.
Okay.
And today for Darfur. And the question I would like to ask is, mainly when somebody makes a documentary like this, is just telling us that he's moving off from music and jumping the wall to become an actor. Is this what
Oh no.
you're feeling?
Oh no. No.
Oh, no. Okay.
No.
And the second question, what was the influence of your Greek origin in your starting the music? Because it was so different from the music that was played in England at that time. So that I finish. And what did the After Child, you remember the Mr. Southan, give to you with the music? Because they were the first Greek band in the top 10 in England at that time. And that time there was Cliff Richard.
The first, Greek band, you say? Well, Andrew's not Greek.
No.
But, I to be honest with you, it's strange, actually. I have an Australian friend who explained this to me in a way that I had never understood. But I think just the fact that I'm not English, I think the fact that I am, of mixed race, as it were, I think Andrew and I, to people outside of England, whether it be Australia or Europe or whatever, I think we just somehow appeared different because there was something very un-English about us, I suppose. And of course what I do and what I've always done is based very much on American R&B. But I think also the way we projected ourselves and the kind of sexuality of what we were doing was very un-British, and I just didn't understand that at the time. I understand it with hindsight, you know. But I don't think, it's not like I listened to a lot of Greek music at home as a child. Well, not voluntarily, anyway. I'm sorry, did I answer the last bit of that? I can't remember. Yeah. Okay.
Sad but true, but this is the last question for today.
Hi, 2 questions for George Michael, Aisha, MTN Television USA. First question, you had too many phases and you've been to different phases and stages in your life throughout 20 years of pop music career. Which would you highlight as your most important one? And second question is, what do you think of the 80s comeback music, which you were a big part of?
Which musical phase was the most important to me? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
It's hard to say. Of course, obviously, the most important in terms of when I made a connection with the public would have been around the Faith period, because it was so full on, you know, and it was so there was so much publicity around it. I always like to think that the most important music I've made is just the most recent music I've made and the music that will come, you know. So that, I would say, to me is always the feeling. And what was the second bit?
What do you think of the 80s comeback music?
Oh, okay.
You were a big part of the 80s music.
Well, as long as the fashion doesn't come back, I think it's fine. God knows I'm, you know, I was the perpetrator of many fashion crimes in the 80s.
The Just Do It t-shirts are back in the market.
Oh, really?
Yes,
And the Choose Life kind of thing.
the Choose Life.
I think the truth about that is I think I dressed terribly because I hadn't had a decent shag. It's a bit like, I think I was the male Kylie. You know the way Kylie went from being completely clueless looking, then she went out with Michael Hutchence and suddenly she was a babe, you know? I think my fashion sense was a bit like that. So you can... So I guess you can look back through those old videos and you can decide for yourselves when it happened, but...
So we've all been very glad to have a well-dressed George Michael here, and thanks for this, the different story.